Hello, humans. It's your host with the most, Brandon, with episode 39 of Not a Robot Podcast's DC Comics Review Show, the world's greatest podcast about the world's greatest heroes. They keep coming back, so I'll introduce them. As always, I've got my amazing co-host here with me, Rob.
Despite popular belief, I am not Batman.
Love to hear it. And Josh.
Hello, humans.
This week we've got Catwoman number 30, Nightwing number 79, Flash number 769, and Justice League number 60. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who help out with $1 or more a month. And thank you listeners too. Like, download, and share our episodes so we get more listeners and can bring you more content. You can get access to our Patreon and the rest of the Not a Robot Podcast shows at notarobotpodcast.com. So what's new with you guys this week?
Oh man. Hey Rob, why don't you go first? Because I got quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, just so many new announcements this week. So many exciting announcements coming out of DC.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's talk about that.
No. All my stuff is like DC Comics announcements. I think
Yep,
Josh and I are
mine
probably
too.
on the same wavelength. So Josh, why don't you go ahead?
All right. First and foremost, Grant Morrison is returning to Superman.
Yeah.
It is a 4-issue miniseries,
Oh.
but it's Superman and the Authority with a brand new Wildstorm team.
Yeah.
Manchester
What a
Black.
team it is.
Yeah, Midnighter, Apollo, Enchantress, Natasha Irons as Steel, I'm assuming, and new versions, apparently, of Light Ray and OMAC. And it is drawn by Mikkel Janin. Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, it's pretty stacked.
Now, it seems like kind of a simple story, but knowing Grant Morrison, it definitely can't be. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but the villain is going to be Ultra Humanite.
Oh.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
he's
hear
putting
that.
together a team of supervillains.
Yeah. I'm if I had to guess, I think it's probably going to be some kind of commentary on like teams like the Authority. Because when it was first announced that it was actually like kind of a leak earlier on, they had like a leaked image of Superman and the Authority, like a trade, and it said Grant Morrison and Mikkel Janin, and everyone was speculating it was a new series or something like that. But I found it really weird because for anyone familiar with Grant Morrison, he's not or has not been in the past the biggest fan of the Authority, just because their message is kind of like the anti-Justice League, and he's kind of more of the optimistic side of superheroes, where the Authority can be more hyper violent, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I would say probably more accurate would be to call it his stance, anyways. The more peaceful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I think a Superman-led Authority is going to be a completely different reimagining of the team, less violent, more, like you said, just different.
Yeah, well, now the brief blurb that I read about it did say that Superman is dumping the Justice League in favor of this team because it's not Justice League type stuff. People are going to have to really get their hands dirty.
Yeah. But is it an older Superman? Because this one seems to have gray temples.
Well, I believe that this is right before or right after what we saw in Future State.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because he is going to Warworld trying to free people.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the prelude to the Superman Worlds of War that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And did you hear the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 announcements from Tom Taylor?
5? I don't even.
5.
Yeah, I remember the big one. I don't know if there's something else I
Yeah.
missed.
Well, he confirmed that he's going to be doing a Superman run, right?
Yeah.
All right. And he has confirmed that he will not be leaving Nightwing anytime in the future.
Oh yeah. No, he's like plotted out to 100. I heard, which is
Yeah.
very encouraging.
Batman the Detective is going to continue all the way through. Plus, he's doing 7 Secrets for Boom Studios. The new Neverlanders at Penguin Random is going to continue. and he's got an upcoming surprise Marvel project, and apparently a whole lot more. Now, I'm worried Tom Taylor's going to drown. I mean, he's an amazing creator, and his
no, he'll be
stories are so
fine.
engaging.
If
but
if
that's
Jeff
a lot of simultaneous
if
projects.
Jeff Lemire can do like 6 books, I'm sure he can pull it off.
Oh, fingers crossed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, Jeff Lemire definitely does do that too.
Yeah, but you kind of already said what the next announcement is, but yeah, no, the second part of the new Superman announcements is that Tom Taylor will be, I guess, relaunching the Superman book as Superman Son of El, starring the one and only John Kent as the premier Superman of Metropolis.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
Yes.
Wow.
It's gonna be interesting.
oh yeah,
So okay, he's relaunching it with John Kent as the Superman.
that's right.
And so okay, so we've got Superman, we've got regular Superman. We're gonna have John Kent Superman. Both of those stories working towards future state. We've got the Magistrate in play in all of Gotham. I mean, there are a lot of things going on. Teen Titans Academy, all of that is working. Black Adam is working toward what we all saw in Future State. Now, here's something I want to say about Black Adam as compared to everybody else. Black Adam seems to kind of know where he's going to end up at the end of the world, at the end of the everything. Compared to, like in reference to what he experienced during his Future State story with Diana.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he's come back and like he's a superhero, or at least he seems to be.
Yeah, definitely more heroic than he's been in the past.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely not a terrorist. He's still got a short temper for sure, but I think he may know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think him and Etrigan are in the same boat, where at the end of the Justice League Dark Future State story that we had, you kind of have an Avengers Infinity War moment where Dr. Fate sends Etrigan back essentially with the knowledge that he's learned about this future timeline.
Yeah.
So I think they're two of them are kind of in a similar position where they're basically trying to position everything in a way where it doesn't end up in that horrific Future State timeline.
Oh, wow, that's two totally different yet somewhat related aspects of the DC universe that could really pull the whole thing together. Wow, that's pretty cool. Hey, way to go, DC.
Yeah,
Way to
it
go.
looks like it's all tied.
Yeah. I mean, let's hope they pull this off, because it sounds super intriguing now that we've all laid it out in front of us. Hey, Rob, you usually keep track of that round robin tournament. I know it's in the penultimate bracket. What's going on with it?
Yeah, so before we get to that, actually, there was one more reveal that I think kind of came in under the radar.
Uh-oh.
That I'm not sure if you guys heard about. New book from Dan Jurgens.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that.
Yeah,
Long
art by
overdue,
Ryan
I'd
Sook.
say.
Oh, wait, by Ryan Sook?
Yeah,
Yeah. Blue and Gold 8-issue mini.
yeah,
Oh,
very
dude.
fun.
Yes, he's bringing them back. If ever there's a writer that can write Blue and Gold, it's Dan Jurgens.
Yep.
I'm so happy that he's back on these. He's never going to let them go, and I hope he never does.
No, I doubt he will.
I
definitely long overdue, I say, because they definitely
Oh, yeah.
have the comedic energy to have their own book.
Yep, and there's diehard fans of that particular version of Blue Beetle, and Cord just doesn't kind of fit into most modern stories. He's kind of left out. He's been kept up on like a shelf for a while. Somebody looked like him in the Suicide story, but I mean, other than that, no, that wasn't even him. That was Maxwell Lord. Yeah, he's just kind of been thrown to the wayside. So,
All right, so now for the round robin, a bit of a surprising outcome based on what we talked about last week. So what I didn't realize is there's the polls on Twitter, but there's also polls on Instagram, and there's polls on the DC Universe app.
yeah, the DC Universe app just opened up this week, though. This was the first week that those people were allowed to vote. Everything else has occurred from social media.
Well, those other two very much swung the votes away from what we saw on Twitter because Zatanna lost to Green Lanterns, and just Superman and Lois lost to Suicide Squad 7.
Yeah, you're crazy. I knew the Jesse Quick one wasn't gonna make it, which was unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I was surprised to
So-
see the Superman Lois one lose to Suicide Squad
Me
7.
too.
I thought that one was a lock.
Well,
think
you
it was
had
a
you
really
had
close
Superman and Lois
match.
TV fans versus Suicide Squad movie fans,
Huh?
Yeah,
which I guess there's more movie fans.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
Considering how the CW show is going and considering how the last movie was.
Right?
So now going into the semifinals, we have Green Lantern's Underworld on Fire going up against Robin's. That's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Blue
no.
Beetle Graduation Day up against Suicide Squad 7.
I think both of those, unfortunately, are quite clear.
Yeah, I agree. Robins
be
versus Blue
it-
Beetle.
Oh,
No, that I would love for it to be Green Lanterns versus Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Me too, but I as much as I would love that, I definitely see Robin's beating out Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's gonna be It's gonna be Robin, and then I think it's gonna be Suicide Squad 7. Because keep in mind that these aren't just comic book fans. It's open to everybody on social media. Everybody out there gets a vote. And there's going to be way more fans of the Suicide Squad than there will be of Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad
Well, we'll have to
news.
see. Yeah, we'll have to see.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep, but any other news you guys want to share? That's all I got.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon, you said it all along.
Uh-huh.
You've been fairly certain that we are going to get a Robin's book.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty confident, and it sounds like it's just going to be a mini series, so at least it's not a new ongoing. But even still, I really wish that a book like Green Lanterns or even Blue Beetle could have a chance. I said it before, but I was just like, it's a sad state where we literally have to rely on a competition to get a Blue Beetle book. But well, I guess we're
Right.
getting the new Blue and Gold title, so there's that. But
Yeah, but it's a
yeah.
different Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
man.
no,
I love Jaime Reyes.
yeah, no, to get a solo Jaime Reyes, we have to kind of bet on it essentially.
Right. All right, guys out there. Well, you can find the descriptions for the books still at the DC Universe website. And like we mentioned before, you can vote not just on Twitter at DC Comics, but also on the DC Universe website at dcuniverse.com. And so vote a whole bunch for Blue Beetle.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, let's get started with the books. So our first book this week comes to us from the Sneaky Cat Thief of Gotham City. Rob, give us all the details on Catwoman number 30.
All right, so this one's coming from Ram V writing, art by Fernando Blanco, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Tom Napolitano. So the Riddler has been saved. Almost as soon as he wakes up, Selina starts pressing him for information. He spills about the drug's potential manufacturing location, so Selina and gang go to investigate. Selina suits up as Catwoman and tracks 2 trucks leaving the facility Nigma spoke of. After breaking into them, she does not find much to work with, but is spotted exiting. She takes out the car of guards, but the trucks get away. They regroup and head to the facility to find any evidence, but not much is to be found. They are approached by a mysterious man that tells them Ivy was taken to the home of Siddharth Roy, a very rich art collector and previous owner of the facility's contents. This man also knows Selina's identity as Catwoman. He gives her the means to get into a party Mr. Roy is hosting, and with a costume change, she arrives dressed to the nines, ready to investigate. This is a very fun one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is wonderful art.
Yeah, it
Really
was.
gorgeous art.
Seriously. Did it feel like, I mean, it's got like a grimy noir feel to it. It has since Ram V took over.
Oh yeah.
And this was awesome. Blanco
Oh, yeah.
and Belair, that's a great team.
Definitely.
I really dig it.
Wonderful.
And they
Yeah.
work really good with this style.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's a really interesting take on Catwoman. I think really digs into, like you said, the grimy noir themes, but also, you have your superhero action, and that's definitely pleasant as well.
Yeah, superhero action, but it's reluctant superhero action,
Yeah.
and she's you can tell she's kind of she's not handling the fact very well that she no longer has Bruce as a resource.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really kind of digging this Father Valley character. I always find it interesting when you
He's
try and
interesting.
incorporate some of these newer Gotham villains and they have a real unique spin to them.
Yeah, see now
Mhm.
in the very beginning when this guy came on the scene, I was like, I don't know about all that, but he has his weirdness, his uniqueness has made
Mhm.
him stand out and just made him very interesting. Like Rob said, he's just really interesting as a bad guy, and he's stalking Selena Kyle. But every time we see him, except for I think once, he's he's nowhere near Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Hmm.
And you know what else is interesting is how much Ram V loves puns. I love them, so when I read them, I
Oh,
can't help but chuckle.
ugh,
Um,
gross.
there was the little ones about on the last page about stealing the dude's possessions. You know, where she's obviously that's what she's really there for. But the pseudonym that she gave, Madame Lafeline, in
Mhm.
French, La Feline means the feline,
Yeah.
Catwoman. So I love that shit. It's awesome.
Oh my god, I didn't even catch that. And I took French in school.
Oh.
Quite a lot. Oh man.
Don't tell your teacher.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. Any final
So yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, just like you were saying, Josh, about this whole noir aspect as well. I'm loving the mysterious, like I mentioned, the mysterious man, just mysterious characters showing up, just like dark, tall, mysterious people that
Mm.
just in the shadows really gives it that noir feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that. Even the lit cigarette that he's got as well is just
Oh yeah.
brilliant.
It really is, dude.
And I do have a bit of a theory going into this. It's a bit far fetched, but you know, it's written by Ram V. Poison Ivy's involved.
Lay it on me.
What are the chances, do you think, that we could see Ram V's other book right now, Swamp Thing, doing a little bit of a step on over to this book for a stint?
Well, I think
You,
Ivy's going to
ooh,
be in either the next issue or the fourth issue. I was just looking at the covers, and it might be Ivy, it might be someone else, but I think it is. If you look up the Swamp Thing number 3 or number 4, it shows you a couple of characters from the Green, and I think one
oh
of
yeah.
them might be Ivy.
I,
If he's crossing over his two books, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah,
and if you're seeing other aspects of the green there, I automatically get hopeful that they will reestablish the parliaments.
yeah, that would be
Oh, that'd be
nice.
great.
All right, gentlemen, final scores.
8.5 all the way, for sure.
Oh,
No argument, hands down.
yeah. I give this an 8 myself. It's just a fantastic read.
Yep, I was feeling 8 out of 10 on this one myself. Definitely super, super solid.
Yep, yep.
Yep, yep. Up next is a tale from another corner of Gotham as we go to the rough and tumble city of Bloodhaven in Nightwing number 79. This
It's not
issue,
Bloodhaven.
it's
It's
Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven. I'm sorry. My German isn't quite up to
Umlaut.
scratch. Also, I couldn't get the umlaut to work in my notes, so
It took
I'm
me
reading it.
forever to
I'm
look
reading it
that
as
up.
Bloodhaven right now. But yeah, this issue is brought to us by the killer team of Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo, Adriano Lucas, and Tom Napolitano.
Right on.
After some reflection on a life filled with change, family, and above all, having that special person or people in your life who catch you when you fall, Dick struggles with what to do with his newfound fortune. After some pizza, helping the homeless eat some pizza, and more talk with Babs, Dick, in true Nightwing fashion, gets his wallet pinched, while Babs naturally gives him shit for it. In an
Right.
alley, one of the homeless gets his heart ripped out by a mysterious new villain, which is sure to bring something nasty for Nightwing. After tracking the kids before they steal the wallet of a fierce mobster from Dick's past, that being Boss Maroney, Nightwing knocks out Maroney's goons and follows the kids to a homeless camp. Heartbroken, he lets the kids keep the wallet and heads back to Babs. Reflecting upon the state of the city and his own life, Dick knows exactly how to spend his cash by being the safety net for a city without one. Um, okay, here are my thoughts in no particular order. It's going to be very scattershot, but I have a lot of them.
All right.
Dick Grayson is such an amazing human being, and if you haven't fallen in love with this guy after this issue, you're absolutely insane, and I don't want to speak to you anymore.
Hey, look, Nightwing is Batman with a heart, basically.
Yes, he's like such a sweetheart and so human in this. It's like it would be painful for me not to empathize with him.
Yep.
But Dick being a man of the community just makes such perfect sense to me. Like he's been in Bloodhaven forever. He should totally be like a man of the community if he came into wealth. And it reminds me, for anyone who's super familiar with Nightwing, when Dick became a police officer just for a little bit so he could kind of help out people in his neighborhood and kind of, steer them out of violence. But to talk about the art for a little bit, Bruno Redondo is someone who is absolutely excellent on Suicide Squad, and he impresses me more with every single issue. The double-page spread of Nightwing in motion, where he's kind of moving across before he slaps away the gun from Boss Maroni's goon, is just absolutely incredible. And like they've done spreads of Dick in motion before, but I never get tired of them. They're just so excellent, and I love action shots like that.
It's gorgeous, man.
Yeah,
It is.
and then I wrote this specific point because I really wanted to talk about it, and it's something that I've thought about for a long time, and it's so great that I can finally confirm it. The Bat group chat. That's something that I've had in my head canon for like so long, and now it's confirmed, and Taylor just made me appreciate him like 10 times more. And I wrote this little thing. I call it my Bat group chat theory time. So just bear with me for like the next minute and a half. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
Go ahead,
my theory is Dick created the chat. And he sent like a little message just saying something like, "Hey guys, this is a great way for us to communicate when we're all kind of busy doing our own stuff, or we're not all in Gotham City when the city is falling apart." And then he sent that text, and Babs probably liked the text, like how you can do on your iPhone, you can like heart the text or give it a thumbs up. Jason definitely said something like rude and obscene, said, "This is so stupid, why would you send this?" Tim probably thanked Dick like in the group chat, but he secretly texted Jason about how corny it all was. Damien, I'm almost 100% certain, said something about how this is a waste of time for the son of the Bat, but still proceeds to send texts every now and then because he still loves Dick Grayson.
And occasionally a meme.
Yeah, and occasionally a meme. And then Babs mentions that Cass sends a ton of emojis, which, again, I'm 100% certain of this, but Stephanie Brown, spoiler, taught Cass how to send emojis, and that's why the both of them, like, spam them. That's how I imagine it.
Right.
And then my final theory...
Because they have done that in other comic books.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. And then my final aspect of the theory is that Bruce isn't actually in the Bat Family group chat, but Alfred is, which is how he kind of stays in the loop. Like, only about some of their stuff. Alfred knows how to be a bro. Like, he'll keep some of the really harsh stuff a secret, but, like, every now and then, Bruce knows that Alfred's a part of the chat, and he'll kind of like ask him to check in. I mean, Alfred's not with us anymore, but my headcanon is that they've had this for like a long time. So
I will agree with you, except I think that Alfred was a part of every single chat.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like, all of them never hid anything from Alfred because he honestly, for the Bat Family, he was the failsafe.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was saying. Like when they set up the group chat, they all collectively were like, we got to have Alfred in this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
I love that Nightwing is a billionaire now, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in a place where he can actually do something, maybe on a much less grander scale than Bruce did in previous stories, like rebuilding Gotham and all that. But I actually think Nightwing with the money would be more effective.
oh yeah,
because
for sure.
It looks like he's aiming it at people instead of the city. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's someone who would definitely like work with the community, not just is kind of distant occasionally or will give a speech or whatever, but he's like I said, back when he was a cop, he's someone who will work directly with neighborhoods and really be a part of them and help out when he can. But
Right.
thank you
It's-
both for indulging me with my stupid Bat group chat theory.
Oh, no,
I
I
spent
enjoyed
like
it.
an
definitely
hour
stupid.
thinking about that, and I was just like, I gotta talk about this.
Hey, now listen. Have you ever seen the ones that get shared around on social media, where they're like superhero group chats?
Oh, I've not.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah,
you have to
those are
look that
great.
up. Just Google when we get done with the show, or anybody out there listening, go ahead and Google yourself some superhero texts, and oh my God, you'll have a great time
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Man,
yeah,
it is. It's given how much we've been gushing about Nightwing, I want to say make it clear that we know this isn't a real person. It's just where his character progression has led him to be written like.
oh yeah,
But I mean, he really is. He's like I said earlier. He's Batman with a heart, basically.
yeah, yeah,
He
and
can he can he can match him on nearly any level, and he's got emotions.
yeah, hell, he was Batman twice
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
Yeah,
And I,
um,
I I think it is super fitting that his new villain is named Heartless.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of the antithesis of who Nightwing is, and kind of
Exactly.
my final thoughts were really just that Dick is such an amazing hero and an amazing human, and really it's his humanity that shines in this issue, which definitely highlights him as one of the pillars of empathy in the DCU. So, yeah, in case it wasn't clear, I had such a great time with this issue. I mean, I know I'm biased towards Nightwing, and I think I
I
made a
am too.
joke. I made a joke that like it's hard for me to give any of his issues lower than an 8 out of 10. But like even if you're not the biggest fan, I still think this is just such a great issue and such a great continuation of Tom Taylor's run. So I'm having a great time. But yeah, any final thoughts from you guys?
Everything you said and everything that we all said before, it it is 100% awesome. It is 100%. You do not have to be a Nightwing diehard fan to
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
this. This is a comic book issue that you could literally pick up,
hmm
never reading comics before, and jump right in, and it's going to be a great story. That much I can promise you.
oh
And
yeah,
on that alone, plus Redondo's gorgeous art, 9 out of 10, man, all the way. Maybe you know what? Uh, Let me think here for a second. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up to a 9.5.
oh wow, yeah. No, my final score for this one was an easy 9 out of 10. It was just such a great issue to read. And I think one of the reasons that like I really loved the last issue, but there were moments where it was a little lukewarm for me, and I think I
Yep.
realized what it was. It wasn't necessarily because the story, it was because we had gotten like three different previews of that issue, so I'd basically already read like 70% of it. So nothing was really a surprise for me when I finally got to finish
Right.
it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I had a great time. Really great time.
Yeah. And if we're gonna say anything about Bruno Redondo's art, we have to at least acknowledge Adriana Lucas's
Oh
colors.
yeah.
For sure.
They are
Yes.
gorgeous.
His
That's one of the
his
things that
always
really
are.
makes the book for me.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not it's colors that bring the moody vibe to Bloodhaven without feeling overindulgent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might speak to me on a deeper level as well. Being bisexual and most of those colors are the bisexual
Oh
flag.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And
And it just jumps out at me every time. But even beyond like the lighting alone is just insane.
well, it's interesting that you raised that point because I know that DC is doing the Pride Month covers, and I'm wondering if you're going to try and pick up that special Nightwing Pride cover. I kind of posted it on my personal Instagram story because it was just such a
Oh,
great illustration.
I definitely want to. It's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, but yeah. Final scores. I know we kind of already said them.
Yeah, this is also a 9 out of 10 for me. I really want to give it a 9.5.
Yeah,
I think I might do the same actually.
yeah.
It's just a fantastic book.
I mean, I rated it a 9 originally just because I don't like to hand out such glowing scores for absolutely no reason. And thinking back about the issue, and I'm looking at it while we're talking about it, and we're all talking about it, and I'm like, this is damn near a 10.
Yeah, I know.
It,
I just like I honestly think this was a better issue than the last one. And even though I enjoyed that one, even though it was kind of spoiled for me, like this issue really was like, if you're not reading this book, you need to be reading it now. Even if you're not a big fan of Nightwing, you will be one by the time you finish it. I can guarantee that. Or your money back or something.
No money back. Just take it.
Yeah, I'll buy a copy for you just to prove my point.
Right.
But yeah. All right, next we're moving out of Gotham City and into the 31st century with Flash number 769. Josh, tell us all about Flash number 769.
You want me to tell you everything about it?
Tell me everything.
Nah, I'm not going to do that. But, all right, so we got Jeremy Adams writing and art on the inside by David LaFuente and Brandon Peterson, and on the outside by Mike Attea. I love him, and Luis Guerrero. Steve Wan's on that letter. And the art, I'm starting this off with with a commentary about the art, man. The art, the shading, the inks. I don't think I've made it any secret here that this particular style is just not to my taste at all. But somehow they make this shit look amazing. And the coloring is just as good. I guess let's hear what I have left to say about the rest of the issue. From last issue, Wally is still trapped in the Speed Force, jumping through bodies as he jumps through time. That's kind of offered as a reveal here, but we all knew that during the last issue. Now we know there's a problem with the giant Dominator. The Speed Force is sick and full of holes, and it's up to Wally to fix it, naturally. And that's why he's being pulled everywhere, slingshotted through time. And it's to plug up each of these holes in the Speed Force. So, meanwhile, in our time, Barry and Mr. Terrific are looking for a way to rescue Wally, and they are able to keep in touch with him with their cell phone from Speed Force Wireless. That was funny as hell, guys. Fuck you.
Wait, sorry. It kind of went over my head for a second.
Lightning fast speed.
Yeah, I know. The joke came at lightning fast speed. Oh, that was the pun. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Josh.
Bum. Love you guys too, man. All right, funny part in here is about how Barry doesn't have a secret entrance to his hideout in the Flash Museum. It's kind of cool that they worked in that. That's how Barry finances all of his shit. Barry doesn't have one because he usually just runs in fast enough that nobody sees him. But he doesn't have powers now, so that's not very helpful. And as many times as Barry has lost his powers before, that just seems like a really stupid mistake for a very smart man.
Yeah.
Gold Beetle is there for the whole issue, and we get quite a bit of them. She is only in it for this issue, though, because she's left behind when Wally leaves. Now, before he does, he whispers something to Gold Beetle, but you don't have any idea what it is. It's just some scribbled line. It shows what era of time Wally ends up in with a splash page of it, and man, is it pretty to look at. But,
oh, yeah.
It's got crazy wicked inks and shading and colors, man. It's gorgeous. But it's an unfavorable time period to go to. Let's just say that. Wally had it kind of easy in this issue. It doesn't look like it's going to be the same way next issue. I loved it for both the characters and the art. Story, I'm just waiting to see where it goes, man. Wally hasn't been treated so nicely in the past, right? So
oh, yeah.
I'm like literally only partially cautiously hopeful. But okay, so like there's a lot of action, but there's very little that actually happens here. And nothing that really moves the story along at all, except he gets slingshotted through time at the end of it.
Mm.
That's what's been wrong with the Flash book for the past 5 fucking years. And I'm so sick of it.
Where nothing happens.
Yes. So like because of that, it affects my score, and I can't help that. But it had amazing art. It really did, and I want to read great stories by Jeremy Adams.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I mean, I know for me, one problem that I had with some of the previous stuff in the Flash, and I think we kind of talked about this in another episode, was that they would kind of introduce new things and then just not really do anything with it, and it never really felt like anything was of substance or consequence. It just kind of was over and done with. like when we were finished. Like the negative speed force. What was that?
The negative speed force, all of the forever force, the still force,
Yeah.
the strength force, all of that. See, this is rant time.
We love it.
How long was Joshua Williamson on the Flash title for?
Oh, a good few years, wasn't it?
Yeah, almost 5
It was
years.
over 100 issues?
4 or 5 years, I think.
Yeah, almost 5 years, right? Okay, so he spent almost 5 years on a title, introduced all kinds of good ideas, all kinds of really good ideas, and didn't land a single one. Not one did he land. So they literally went to him and said, "You know what? Here's the keys to the kingdom. You take over Infinite Frontier. You give everybody the direction they need to go in." That's what he's doing right now in DC. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was in kind of a similar place that you were, because I was kind of only exclusively reading Flash, and I was frustrated that it felt like nothing of import. It felt like it was constantly building towards something that never actually happened.
Right.
And I kind of had some problems with the dialogue too, but that might have just been a personal thing.
Nope. I thought it was always cheesy as hell.
Yeah, it would be kind of corny, and I was like, I don't know about this guy, this Joshua Williamson fellow. But I think for me, I think he kind of operated in a better place, even though he's apparently a huge fan of the Flash. He kind of was in a better place when he wasn't writing the Flash, at least for me.
Williamson himself.
Yeah, Williamson himself, surprisingly.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the Flash, but he just
Yeah, I think it's just. I mean, he kind of gets the characters, but I just don't know about his stories. It just felt lackluster in some parts of the Flash. There are still some that I can look back and say, oh, I kind of enjoyed that, like Running Scared and the one with Grodd. I don't even remember the name. That's not a good sign.
I don't remember the name of it either. But that one was okay.
Yeah, I had fun with that one. What was it? Rogue's Return and Flash War. Those are like the four that I was like, okay, these ones were like I had a decent time with them. But other than that, like I said, and I think those were probably just because they were mostly standalone. But yeah, other than that, like I said, it felt like it was building towards something that never really happened. But
and everything was inconsequential. Like at the very end of Williamson's shit, where they were like, "Okay, we're attached to the Speed Force, but we can't use our speed powers because then we'll make shit explode."
Yeah.
Except when it's convenient for the story to be able to use your speed, then you can go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt very strange. But yeah, getting back to this issue in particular, I'm hoping that they really take the time to kind of give it a sense of importance and a sense of story that isn't just, like I said, things just kind of happening aimlessly. Because I know I'd get really bored of that quickly. And I don't know. I don't know if you felt the same way, Rob.
I'm getting hints that hopefully that's not the case. And just with all the stuff that Gold Beetle was saying, I know that's just like harmless fun with just like dropping hints towards the future and the Skeet Spot. I can't remember what she called them.
Beats.
Her version of Skeet.
Yeah.
Beats.
Yep.
That makes sense. Beats. Just constantly telling her, no, don't say that. And I think a lot of that stuff with her saying that, she's met Wally before and she was on a team with him and he led her through some stuff. Maybe that's going to show up later on, and this is actually going to have kind of its own good continuity. And Gold Beetle is going to be one of like the star players in this book. And with this Wally-centric book, we're actually going to have some substance.
Hopefully you're right. I do see building blocks being put in place, but that's something I've seen for 5 years. Now, Adams is not Williamson, so fingers crossed there. But as far as I'm concerned, we just gotta wait and see. 7.25 from me.
Yeah, I ended up giving this one a 7.5 as well. Like I said, I had fun, especially some of the back and forth between Gold Beetle and Flash. Gold Beetle is a really fun character, and
Yes.
I would
Hmm.
very much like to see her kind of coming back to the Flash on occasion. But yeah, like you said, not a ton happened. Didn't really progress the story outside of saying things that we kind of already knew while he's sliding through time, and that's about it. So yeah, 7.5 for me.
All right. You know what I want? I want a 6-issue miniseries about Gold Beetle where the first issue is kind of like her origin story, or all six just have kind of like flashbacks to her origin story, but it's the time period leading up to where she met Flash
Hmm.
this time.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Hell yeah, it would.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd almost enjoy the character. I'd just love her to have her own book, miniseries, or ongoing, or whatever. But I almost don't want to see an origin story from this character. Just have it as that kind of mysterious, fun character that just pops up now and again, and is just
Mm.
a fun little person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be okay with that, but at the same time, I feel like I've railed on creators like Bendis for so long because they do that so repetitively
Mhm.
that it makes me hesitant to endorse it with other creators.
Yeah.
I don't want to encourage that kind of behavior.
Yeah. You definitely, if you're gonna do something like that, you need a pretty strong creative team to see it through. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, final scores. I know like I said, we kind of already said some of them, but
7.25,
Yeah, I'm giving this an 8.5, mostly for Gold Beetle,
right?
and I love the. It was just a lot of fun for me.
mm. Yeah, no, like I said, 7.5 for me. Not bad, not necessarily great, just kind of right there in the middle. Finally, let's see what the world's greatest super team has for us this week in Justice League number 60. After that, we'll check in on those mystical misfits in our second story featuring the Justice League Dark. But first, Rob, could you walk us through the main story of Justice League number 60?
Gladly, this comes from everyone's favorite writer, Brian Michael Bendis,
Mm-hmm.
with art by David Marquez, colors from Tamara Bonvillain, and letters by Josh Reed. So, Black Adam's arrived to interrogate Naomi about Brutus and his attacks, having figured out the same connections the League has. Superman interrupts his questions with a beautiful spearing tackle, and after comparing notes, the three of them head back to the Hall of Justice to get everyone on the same page. Superman wants Adam to join the League on this mission, but the rest of the League has issues with that choice. Before a proper decision is made, Brutus attacks again, this time in Central City. When our heroes arrive, they find Queen Hippolyta alone. She explains how Brutus arrived on Themyscira, but the Amazons were able to push him back. He teleported to Central City, and she followed him but got away again. Realizing how dangerous this can get, the League decides to head to his world, Naomi's homeworld. Flash modifies his cosmic treadmill to send the League there, but he has to stay behind to power it. When they arrive, the League is scattered, and Naomi finds herself stranded alone. So, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Mm.
All right.
It's interesting, but it's still lacking the personality.
Well, it's okay. So, flat out, I don't know what's going on here. It doesn't make any sense. But the plot is there. There's character building. There's different personalities and different voices for each of these characters. There's not a gajillion narration boxes everywhere.
Yeah, which is nice.
Are we sure that this isn't someone just using Bendis's name? I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
it's
Because
surprisingly, yeah, it feels surprisingly. I mean, there is a lot of chatter, don't get me wrong. And there are definitely a couple moments where I was just like, cut that out. Like leave that. You don't need that there. Like
yeah,
there's
for
one
sure.
scene in particular where they're standing around talking, getting caught up, and I think one of the characters, or I think Naomi asks like Hot Girl if there's anything going on between Black Adam and Hippolyta, which would have been kind of a funny moment, but then you have this random bubble from Aquaman that's just like, oh, the people are here, and it's like you don't need to put that because it just
Yeah,
Well,
clutters
that was
you
really
don't.
out of
it
place.
clutters the page and it like breaks
Yes.
the flow because then you have Naomi asking the question, Hawkgirl kind of answering, and then before you get to the final answer from Hawkgirl, you have to like the way that your eyes move. You have to read the thing from Aquaman and then go to the final joke. Otherwise, it's just like chaos. So there were a couple moments.
Chaos anyway.
Yeah, there were a couple moments like that where I'm just like, you can leave that. You don't need to have them say something. In fact, it would have been funnier if you just had like a background shot of Aquaman waving to the people for some random reason.
Exactly.
But, yeah, no, those were kind of my only like quirks with it. Otherwise, I found the story to be surprisingly more solid than I had anticipated. At least for me, I don't know why.
Okay,
I find it interesting, but he's still missing like the character ideas. Really, what you said about Aquaman, I think that's very out of character for him compared to what we got from anybody else.
Right.
For me, it's like it's not even that it would have been totally out of character, because I honestly don't hate the idea of a bit more jovial Aquaman. It's just like you don't need to have them all speak at once. You could have just had you already have the separate panel where Aquaman's going up to sign the shit from the children. You don't need to have him say something every single time. Background gags can be just as funny as like you having someone trying to say something and it just kind of clutters the page.
Agreed. Jokes aside about who's writing this, before I finish my rant about Bendis, let me say that David Marquez and Tamara Bonvillain make this issue look really super good, man. Oh, this is really nice to look at.
Yeah.
You take Bendis completely out of it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, no, Marquez was like such an amazing talent over at Marvel, so I was super stoked when they like first announced that he was doing stuff at DC.
Yeah, for sure.
Batman, Superman with Josh Williamson, and I'd really wanted to see him do a Justice League book, and now it's here because he'd been doing covers for a little bit. And like, you know, he finally gets the chance to do it, and you know, like I said, the story has its moments. I think it's like I said, it's solid for me, but there's still those quirks that are just it's annoying. Where it's like, and it was the same problem I had with Young Justice, where it's like any tension that you may have, any genuinely funny moments that you might have are ruined or just deflated by the constant need to have everyone say something.
Yeah, not just everybody say something, because I feel like he doesn't want to leave any character out ever.
Yeah.
But it's also that ladder dialogue that he's so guilty of.
Yeah.
You know, what you could have said in 3-word bubbles, he stretches out to 7.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then what I noticed in this story, at least for me, man, was we get the same kind of slow-ass story progression that it smells of the same dismal progression that we saw in his Wonder Comics imprint and the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, it was definitely slow in points, and I 100% agree with you on the like cut down some of the stuff, because oh my god, you like this is what I'm talking about, where it's like there are just scenes that are so guilty of it. Like there's one scene that I remember where it's like they're basically saying like we're gonna go to the realm, the other universe that Naomi's from, and we want you to come with us. And Naomi's just like, wait, me? You want me to come? He's like, yes, you just fucking said that. Like, I already know that.
Right? Yeah.
Like, yes, you.
Exactly.
Who the hell else are you talking about? I know you're going to clarify the point, but it's like, you're literally standing right fucking there. We know we're talking about you.
Right? Come the hell on, man. I mean, I guess we will see how this one ends up faring, but already it's showing just trademark Bendis handling, and I'm curious, but I definitely am not. I don't have high expectations at all. Like, I barely have low expectations.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say it again. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think there are points where there's an underlying solid story. Like, I like the idea of maybe trying to reform a Black Adam and trying to grow out the League. So it feels a bit more humane, especially given everything that happened in Dark Knight's Metal, and even trying to incorporate some of the stuff from the Naomi solo book could be interesting, but it's just, again, it's like anytime I try and get invested in that, anytime I try and really follow it, it's just like I get distracted by all the other shit that's going on. It's so annoying. Yeah.
It's beyond annoying.
Yeah.
It really takes away from the comic book, and
Yeah.
I can't figure out how any publisher, let alone DC, could possibly think that that's a good marketing idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose situation where it's like you don't want Brian Bendis to abandon his style because then it's not his style. Like, for all its faults, for everything that's wrong with it, it is, it is his style. It's unique with quotation marks around that word in a way.
Right.
And if it was, if you completely stripped it of everything, it really would just be no different than any other writer, which, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you. But
Well,
yeah,
I
I don't
just,
know.
how like some people ride the coattails of others?
Hmm.
I think Brian Michael Bendis has been riding the coattails of his glory days with Miles Morales and, in my opinion, to a much lesser extent, Daredevil. Um, and he's just been cashing in on his name, and that's what publishers have been doing anyway, is just cashing in on his name as well for as long as they can. And that's sad because it's ruining the medium, backing creators who can't follow through with ideas and lessen the content. Make a person finish reading a comic book, get confused, go all the way back to the beginning, read it all the way through again, and then say to themselves, I can't fucking believe I just spent $5 on this thing.
Well, I think for me, it's because I think I'm a little different. Where I think there are moments of like, oh, this could be interesting. Again,
There's some, like I
it's
said,
my
I'm
biggest
curious.
problem. Yeah, my biggest problem with his stuff, and I feel like every time we talk about a Bendis book, we're always going to go on this rant. But it's like, again, my biggest problem is, and I'll say it
Guilty.
until the day I die. It's like, um, any original ideas that you have are just demolished. I'm like trying to find the right word for it. But yeah, they're just like demolished by inconsistencies and writing quirks that, again, aren't terrible, but you really need someone to rein them in, right? Like the scene with Aquaman, I think, is the worst example of it, where it's just like literally just have an editor step in and say, why is that there? Why does that line need to be there? Okay, is it excessive? And then they'd probably say, yeah, it's a little excessive. And then you say, okay, cut it out. And then the scene works fine. But if you just leave
Exactly.
it there, you have, if you just leave it there and then you have multiple scenes like that, you kind of have well, I don't know, you just have a patchwork quilt of nothing.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
in big books, especially big books like Justice League, you've got editors, but you've also got associate editors and group editors too.
Yeah.
There's no reason why that kind of stuff shouldn't be. Look, Bendis, we don't care about your name quite so much as making sure that our stuff can continue to make money well after you're gone. So take out 70% of this dialogue bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe not
just
70%,
scale
but at
it
least
back.
35.
Yeah, scale it back by a factor of five, and you probably
Right.
have I think a decent chapter, right? But like I said,
Yeah.
any interest that I have is just crushed by like, you gotta say something here. If it's like that, oh my God, it's it's like that old quote that they used to have about how Marvel writers used to work back in the day, where it's just like, if you have characters in a panel, they have to be talking.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
no,
crazy.
not
That is the
anymore.
Marvel method. That's It's
Yeah, where it's
absolutely
like,
insane.
if they're not talking, it's not, it doesn't work. And it's like, well, not necessarily, right? You can give people a moment to breathe, especially if every single person says something in every single page. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
you don't need that. That's excessive. But anyway, final scores.
7.5.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had a 7 on this. I would have been lower, but the art really bumped it up for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I ended up giving this one an 8 because I was nice and because like I said, I'm still interested in the story and I really want to believe that you can take it there, that I can be optimistic about it. But if the next issue has that many just moments where it's like, oh my god, please just leave that out, then it's probably gonna my score's probably gonna drop lower. But uh, with that out of the way, let's take a look at the Justice League Dark. At the Hall of Justice, the Justice League debates over the fate of the newly returned Etrigan. Does he have a place on the JLD, or is he a ticking time bomb waiting to be unleashed? The League is divided, but Batman ultimately makes the final call, saying he believes in Zatanna. After Batman and Superman give their full faith in Zatanna to do the right thing, Constantine clears up some of the mystery around Merlin and his history. In a small bookshop, Merlin seeks out the words of Jorge Luis Borges, not for light reading, however, but to literally bring these words to life as he ends the life of a shopkeeper. After some final threatening words between Bats and Etrigan, the Justice League Dark set out to find Merlin, who, still at the shop, is about to have his first encounter with an old mystical friend of Detective Chimp, the ever-sorrowful, ever-mystical Ragman.
Yes.
So my thoughts, the art by Zermanico was totally awesome. This guy really knows how to bring horror, as well as the colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr. Just really nails the horror of Merlin, especially when he kills the shopkeeper and his corpse is basically lying on the floor. I thought that this scene with Etrigan and Batman was kind of comical, considering they're both like demonic weirdos, except one's a literal demon and one just dresses up like one.
Right.
But it was kind of a fun moment.
I think so too.
Yeah, Batman and Superman both believing in Zatanna was really sweet and encouraging. It's
Absolutely.
seriously about time she took lead of the team. I think she was briefly leader in the New 52 iteration of the Justice League Dark, but I don't remember. So yeah, it's just good to see her take the lead. In whole. And I can't wait to see Ragman, Zatanna, and the rest of the Justice League Dark absolutely tear into Merlin in the next issue. Or maybe they'll get torn into. We'll have to see. I don't know. But yeah.
The Justice League endorsing Zatanna as the leader. That was awesome, like you said.
That was awesome. Yeah.
The JLD. Now, keep in mind, there's no heavy hitters. There's no Wonder Woman. There's no Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
There's Constantine, Etrigan, Detective Chimp, Zatanna, and Ragman.
Yeah, really the closest thing they have. Yeah, really the closest thing they have to a heavy hitter is Zatanna.
Yes.
In the other one, you have a huckster and a chimp with a sword.
Yep, and the demon who, he can't exactly die, but he kind of has an attitude problem.
Yeah, and he's not. I'm guessing he's not going to work too well with the team. But
I think he'll definitely stay with it though.
Yeah, but
I love Ram V, dude. He keeps me glued to the page. Ram V, Zermanico drawing with him. I've wanted that to happen since I started reading Ram V's stuff. The art is seriously a joy to look at.
It really is.
Story is awesome. I want this to go on forever until Ram V can't hold a pencil anymore. Like, for real. Not just at DC. I mean, like, physically. I want him to write until he's like 97.
Yeah. And I mean, my final thoughts were really just like, why is this a backup?
Exactly.
I don't understand. Yeah. It's so confusing to me. I'm glad that they're coming out in these installments. It's fun, but I don't understand. Like, this story warrants a full issue. I really don't get it.
Completely 100% stand on its own.
Yeah, absolutely could.
On both story and art.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
I have an idea on that regard.
Oh yeah.
For the future, why don't they make Justice League Dark the main story and Justice League the backup?
That would be nice, but I don't know.
The only downside is the 9 pages Bendis would have would just be full of.
Imagine him having to condense these 20 pages into 10 pages. It'd be a nightmare. But it would be it would be interesting to see them do that. But personally, I don't think it'll ever happen because I mean it's. The sad fact of the matter is it's the Justice League. It's the iconic premier super team of the DCU. And, Justice League Dark will kind of always be seen as the weird offbeat. And even though it may have more importance and I don't know, interests with us, it's, it's sad, but it'll never be as popular as the Justice League. So I guess this is just how it's going to be for a little while.
Right. Do you guys remember the old like late '80s Superman comics that had the Mr. McZimmelpick in it that would show up, and there'd just be like this little picture of McZimmelpick in the corner, and there'd be these massive word bubbles that took up like half a page.
Yeah,
that would be Bendis as a backup.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I don't even want to.
Bendis would
that.
be Mixie.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, but second story scores.
I had this scored before only because it was such a short story and it was more of a setup issue.
Yeah, it is. There is very little that happens. It is a total setup issue towards the events that we saw in Future State, though. So that's going to be cool to see him work it in.
Which is why I'm just like, why the fuck can't this be a full issue? Like, you could have had the first half be setup and the second half be resolution. But now you essentially have to wait for the next issue to get that resolution, in addition to reading 20 pages of them going to the Naomi realm.
I mean, okay, you keep saying the next issue is resolution. Is the next issue supposed to be the last backup issue for Justice?
Oh no, it's not. By resolution I mean they're finally going to get to meet Merlin, I assume.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's no telling how long that's going to be.
I imagine JLD is probably going to go on for a good little while.
Yeah, I mean the JLD that he wrote after Tynan left was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually liked that a whole lot more when stacked up against Tynan.
Honestly, yeah, no, I agree.
It was really good. I've been waiting for this team for a long time. I don't know. Has this been on your fan casting ever, Ram V and Zermanico? I have literally asked for this team on the podcast like multiple times.
I actually haven't. I mean, I guess I don't know. Zermanico is like, I knew of him. He was on my radar. He did the Black Star series with Grant Morrison. That's kind of like my first time really seeing what he could do.
He was in the Death Metal series too.
Yeah, the Justice League one. But I guess I didn't really think of him doing Justice League Dark. But it's interesting that you had kind of already saw that pairing, because it wasn't even on my radar. But they are a hell of a pairing.
Fantastic horror artist, fantastic horror writer. Hell yeah, man. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, let me see a collaboration. And this is keeping Fajardo Jr. on the colors. Zermanico as an artist, and then a collaboration between Ram V and Joe Hill.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see Joe Hill do. That's actually a really good idea. I'd love to see Joe Hill do something with the mystical characters, or even Justice League Dark. I actually recently got to read Lock and Key. A family friend of mine. Yeah, a family friend of mine sent it to me, and I've had it on my shelf for like forever. And I was like, one day I'm gonna get to it. And then I read it, and it was so fucking good.
For sure.
Man, that is such a good idea.
Yep. I would love to have Joe Hill do a collaboration with Ram V, because that's kind of out of Joe Hill's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But he brings that certain creepy atmosphere to the setup.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
agree.
Really all that Ram V's missing, man.
Yeah, I wonder, would you want to see Joe Hill and Ram V just do Justice League Dark, or do something else as well?
Oh God, I mean, if you opened it up to an independent option or like a Black Label book, I'd read it. Oh fuck yeah, I'd read it.
Yeah,
I'd read it in hardcover format, dropping $40 on it, and I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah, no, because I was thinking like a horror book. I was thinking like we just got Ragman in this issue, so you open the rabbit, or not the rabbit hole, but you kind of have sent me going down the rabbit hole of, what other stuff could he do, and I'm thinking he could do, a really great horror Ragman book.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, he could. Or I think he would do an amazing. This of course. Oh God, I hammer on this all the time. But if they were to bring back the Parliaments,
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Do you guys hear me? I mean, did his little run there? What was the name of the imprint that was all of his books coming out?
Hill House.
Hill House. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah. Did they sell enough to invest in them? I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I think we have spit out some damn good ideas.
Oh yeah, no, and yeah, Josh, I mean, you're like right on the money with the Justice League Dark collaboration. I'd pay good money to see that.
Damn, right?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if it was a slightly oversized issue, then I mean 35 to 40 pages per
Yeah.
issue for the whole run, I would probably pay $8 to $10 for that.
Oh yeah, I just to see, you know what I mean?
And with that exact
Yeah.
creative combo.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no,
Germanico, Friardo, Joe Hill, and Rampy.
yeah,
Absolutely.
but I'm like, man, I was not even thinking Joe Hill at all. Because you're right, that is kind of out of his wheelhouse, but I would love to see it. Now I'm so curious.
He would definitely need Ram V's
Yeah.
influence.
Hmm.
Just like Tyner. Tyner.
Tiny.
Just like Tynan really needed Scott Snyder's influence.
Hmm.
I think it would work the same way, but if he got that, he could handle any mystical character or horror character
Oh yeah.
in all of the DC.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Well, yes, second story scores, guys. What did you think?
DC, thank you for doing this. Full stop, 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was going to give this a 7 out of 10 just for being such a short setup, but with like Ragman and just anybody that can write Etrigan and come up with so many rhymes every time he speaks, you deserve such a great score. I got to give this a 9.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely, man.
I ended up giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. Just like you said, it definitely had some setup moments, but and I wish it could have been longer. I think that was why I kind of docked it a little bit. But
Now here's the thing. While we're all mentioning that, I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but I didn't feel like I was getting less content.
no, no,
There just
it's
wasn't as many
Yeah.
pages there.
yeah. It was more of a personal thing where it was like I wish I could have had more.
Yep.
Like I got
Yeah.
this satisfying feeling that I wanted, but I would have liked to have, had more to kind of to digest for the month.
Can we protest for this? DC support Ram V. DC support Ram V.
Or even better, DC support JLD.
There you go.
That's what I want.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, what were your final scores / any final thoughts?
The first one brought this issue down to an 8.5 for me.
Yeah, the two together, I don't know. It's hard to say. JLD definitely brings it up, and the art for the Justice League main brings it up. I'll give it an 8
Yeah.
for the whole book.
Now mine averaged out to 8.25, which I think is fair. But yeah, before we close out, we'd like to give a brief shout out to a digital first series coming out of Infinite Frontier. Infinite Frontier Secret Files #1, starring President Superman. So Josh, with that in mind, what's up on Earth 23?
Just a quick little glimpse into it, I suppose.
Mhm.
The story came from Brandon Thomas with art from Valentine Delandro, Marisa Louise, and Triona Farrell, who that last one there is not somebody I'm familiar with at all. But I really like the job done here. I assume that the purpose of this whole series is to just give us a one-shot glimpse into the different characters that are out there in the Omniverse that were probably seen in Future State, but maybe they didn't get a one-shot at that time. It seems to be taking place as Director Bones listens to tapes, cassette tapes, what the hell. But they're in a shabby office at the Department of Extranormal Operations. The art in this one is simple with thick lines in a style kind of similar to what we saw in the Metropolis Menagerie back in the backup stories to Future State. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I think so. I
Like
think it
with the
might
Mr.
be the
America ones?
yeah, it might be the same artist. I'm not sure.
If it is, I mean, it looks very similar, but it looks like it's done better, so I do enjoy this one more.
Mhm.
But anyway, the story features Calvin Ellis. He is the Superman of Earth 23, as Brandon said. He also happens to be the United States President. There's really not a lot that does happen here, but we do see some things laid out that other than the presidency, kind of sets Calvin Ellis apart from Clark Kent. A big one is that he has a fortress of solitude in the form of a key that he can use to turn any door into a, what do they call that, a hyperbolic chamber. It's soundless, lightless, thoughtless void, and he just goes in there for a few minutes at a time, and he comes back out completely rejuvenated. This dude goes nonstop. He's Superman all the time. He's got a house and a family that he takes care of, and he's the president of the United States. This is one of my favorite alternate versions of Superman, so I kind of like the fact that he's getting his due. Now, I've heard that J.J. Abrams is changing up the format of what we've seen in Superman stories and getting us an African American Superman. Mm-hmm. But I also heard that it won't be Calvin Ellis. So I'm not familiar with any other comic book character that is black. So I guess this is going to be a brand new creation.
It could be Val Zod from Earth 2.
Yeah.
From the New 52.
Yeah, no, I looked that one up, but yeah, no, it's not Val Zod.
Okay.
That's the other one that he declined.
Yeah, it could just.
The going theory is.
Sorry. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the going theory is that it is an original character. I think that was said in one of the interviews I was reading. That is going to be completely original character.
How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, it could be an interesting backstory. I guess we'll just have to see. Yeah. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I was not the biggest fan of some of J.J. Abrams' Star Wars films, so my faith in him as a writer and a director is not high at all.
Right. Like, he's hit or miss.
Yeah, very hit or miss. Especially both with the Star Trek films and the Star Wars films, ironically.
Right.
But yeah, no, this looked like an interesting read. Rob, did you get a chance to read this one?
I got a chance to kind of flip through it, but I did not get a chance to really sit down and read it thoroughly.
Yeah, no,
But I do love me some Calvin.
Yeah, no, I only briefly got to skim through it, but I was excited, Josh, when you said that it was a Secret Files story featuring Calvin Ellis, because he's, like I said, super cool character, and then of course really me being the Grant Morrison fan that I am, super big part of the Multiversity. If you've ever gotten a chance to read that, so definitely a big fan, definitely a super cool character.
Yeah, give him a Google and pick up titles featuring him. He is probably if not, I'm having a hard time thinking of other alternate universe Superman that I'm a huge fan of. But Calvin Ellis is one of them. And I'm having a trouble coming up with anybody else right now. But anyway, I mean, they did a couple things different here. They drew him a bit older. Mm-hmm. Which that's not something we usually see. This guy this time looks like he's 40-ish, so I dig that. That fits his character a whole lot better. And regardless of what direction that they're going with, I'm kind of ticked off that we're not getting Calvin Ellis, and I think that is, excuse my French, but I think that's just J.J. Abrams being a fucking pussy about not representing an established comic book character correctly on screen. And that pisses me off.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, again, I don't know too much about the details behind the film, but I can say that if that is the case, it's definitely a missed opportunity, because I think you could tell a really great story about a President Superman. I think that's one of the most interesting aspects of Calvin for me, is the idea of having responsibility of one of the most powerful countries in the world, in addition to being one of the most powerful people in the world.
Right.
And you have to juggle those two responsibilities, without end, which sounds like that was kind of discussed a lot in this issue. I feel like it would be a missed opportunity if you didn't go for that. I mean, again, maybe you have a really unique story to tell. I'm not putting a lot of faith in Abrams' ability to tell original stories, but who knows?
No. Now, I'll take a Calvin Elvis movie all day long. Great character. I guess the person that is in the front running for the Superman movie is Michael B. Jordan, who I happen to think is one of the shittiest actors currently working today. Yes.
Damn.
Yes, there are so many other people that could play the role of a black Superman, Kelvin Ellis or not, and I just don't let it be Michael B. Jordan or Tyrese, either or, please. neither one of them.
I wouldn't mind John Boyega. I'm a fan of his, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could...
I guess it would just, for me, it would depend on the script and the story, because I think even with actors that maybe aren't the best, they can definitely be elevated by a really strong story, something that ties it all together. Um, like, I guess we're going on a tangent, but like people will go, people will give Adam Sandler a lot of shit for terrible roles, and there are many. But if it's the right script, if it's an
Herbie
interesting
Halloween.
story, he can really elevate the performance and elevate the story, like in Hidden Gems.
I mean,
or Uncut Gems. Whoa,
yeah,
what the hell?
That's totally possible, but I just don't think Michael B. Jordan is the best delivery system.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now for a character like oh crap, what's his name? Is it Warmonger? The Black Panther villain.
Mm-hmm.
Warmonger.
Yeah, Killmonger.
Oh God.
Killmonger. That's what it is. I'm sorry. For a character like that, because Jordan's got such an obnoxious, loud, boastful personality. He fits a character like Warmonger. That's not the kind of person that should be Superman. I mean, didn't Warner Brothers back out of the Man of Steel because they didn't want such a gritty, hard-hitting Superman? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I think if you're gonna reboot your franchise, the last thing you want to do is have another gritty, aggressive Superman. It wouldn't really. I don't know. I don't think it would really work right now, especially with all these shows that we have that are about gritty, angry Superman. It just not only would it seem redundant, but it would just be like, well, these other shows. I'm just gonna say it. A show like The Boys would kind of be validated if you had yet another gritty, aggressive Superman.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we need that. I don't know. Have you guys? Am I just being a fucking turd? Have you guys ever seen Michael B. Jordan not be that kind of character? I mean, do I only have like one leg to stand on here?
I really only know him from Black Panther, so I don't know. I don't have a huge frame of reference, but
no, I can see what you're saying. Like his personality would definitely be suited something to more like Johnny Storm.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I guess I did see him in Fan Four Stick, but I kind of blocked that movie from my memory.
But if you had to pick any good part about that movie, it might have been.
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to.
But that script was just
comb pretty hard to pick a. Like that's the thing. I barely even remember it because it was just. If it's something that's like so incredibly bad, I try and forget about it just because I don't want it to think about it. But
you call it Fan Four Stick, and I've just gotten accustomed to calling it Fan Four Stick.
Yeah, no, that's more appropriate, I'd say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Are you guys aware of a Fantastic Four film in development by Disney? Have you guys heard any rumors about that?
I have
There's
not.
one coming.
Oh, there is for sure.
But it's years away, and there's been fan casts and theory casts for a couple of years now. But they have said their last time, and this is pre-pandemic, which feels ages ago. The last time they had their big press release show in a theater, and they were talking about all their next big projects. They said that Mutants and Fantastic Four are coming.
Huh.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Who knows when?
Yeah. Well, anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, let's break down our top 3 books for this week in a standout moment if you have one. Rob, why don't you get us started?
My top 3. So starting at number 3, I had The Flash. It was fun. It was flashy. Just not the best this week for me. Number 2 is Catwoman. A lot better. Complete opposite with the flashiness is more dark. It's more mysterious. It got that gritty noir feel like Josh said earlier. It's a lot of fun, and Rambee's hitting it out of the park. And number 1, our boy Nightwing. The man with the plan and the man with the butt. huge Tom Taylor fan. He sold me on Deceased alone, and I'm a forever Tom Taylor stan myself.
Yep.
And I'm a Dick Grayson stan. It's just a match made in heaven. So this is a number one.
Very cool
for me. And my best panel, honestly, is going to Nightwing as well. That opening page with him jumping from the rooftop, and it's just him through the ages, through his different costumes. I thought that was really nice touch.
Yeah, no classic pre New 52 Bloodhaven Nightwing design, which was a bit unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna miss that. They're like I don't know. I'm this is the part where I get to geek out about that, because it's like every time they'll do like a transformation sequence of him and the various costumes, I'm always like, there are like 5 other costumes they could put in. They could put in the one from Grayson. They could put in his Batman costume. They could put in the one from the 90s where it was like he had the ponytail and everything. There are like right. 5 other costumes that I know they could include, but they won't, just because it's like, who cares? And I'm fine with that, but like, I don't know. It's always in the back of my
costume.
head.
I call that Pirate Nightwing.
Yeah, exactly.
You've heard about the Gotham Knights game coming soon, eventually.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
Right. So I'm following the subreddit for that, and there's always been no news, so it's all just people. Every day there's just people posting, I want this suit, I want this suit, and it's just the amount of Nightwing suits that have been posted. It's amazing how many different costumes this man has had over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot,
and they're all great.
Yeah, no, he's had a lot of costumes. But Josh, what were your top 3 for this week and your favorite moment?
In third place, it's gonna be Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
That Justice League Dark story really brought up the issue, even though it had fewer pages. So somebody in marketing and publishing, take a fucking clue.
Get on your Joe Hill idea.
Yeah, right, for sure, man. And second place is going to go Catwoman, man. That one knocked it out of the park. And the only reason why Catwoman did not get number 1 is because Nightwing was so fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
100% fantastic. And my favorite moment's going to have to be that full splash page of Ragman, dude. That looked so fucking good. I love the way he's drawn. Those two are literally meant to work together. Love it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat as you, Josh. My top 3 are pretty much the same. At number 3, I had Justice League number 60, pretty much just for that Justice League Dark story. And small moments in Bendis's initial story, but again, just crushed by everything else that bothered it. At number 2, I had Catwoman. Ram V and team make this book so excellent to read and so much fun. And then, of course, number 1, I had to give it to Nightwing, as I will do probably every time there's an issue of Nightwing. And my favorite moment of the week had to go to the double-page spread of Nightwing in motion. I made it no secret that I thought it was just such an excellently drawn panel, and it's just great, just absolutely great. But well, that was fun. We have something that's even more fun. You know what it's time for? It's time for
the biggest stinker. Oh, that's nasty.
Which title made your stink list today, Rob?
Oh, you can all guess. Justice League.
Yeah.
As much as JLD was fantastic and the art in the book was great, I'm done with the dialogue.
Yeah, I get you.
I really am. So many pauses, so many unnecessary pauses.
Yeah, it's just it can be, it can definitely be just excessive.
Yep, it's unfortunate that V has to be paired with Bendis.
Yeah, I know. I would not be happy, but Josh, what title made your stink list this week?
Well, I want it to make my stink list now because I want Bendis to be swapped out for like Mark Waid. But in any case, the stinker I picked today, PU, is gonna be, well, okay, look, it's not terrible as an issue itself, but it's not really an opening issue or a setup issue because that happened last issue. So this one just feels like it's kind of stalled out, and it's the Flash. I'm going to keep reading it, of course, because I love The Flash and I'm stupid, so I keep giving them my money for no reason. But until I get proof of actually storytelling and progression, The Flash is going to continue to rank low on my score, even with fantastic art.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I didn't have a bad time with this issue, and I there were some moments that I really liked between Flash and Gold Beetle, but it was definitely filler isn't the right word. It just, I don't know. It's I'm gonna make an epic joke. It was running in place. That's it. It was running in place. That's exactly what it was doing. Where it's just not going forward, not going backward.
Stalled out.
Yes.
Stuck in neutral.
Yep. Any final thoughts, guys?
Quit doing that to the Flash. I don't care. Just because that's Wally doesn't mean you get to start over for another 5 fucking years, keeping him running in place. I don't care if it's on Cosmic Treadmill or not. Do something with him.
Yeah, please.
This is ridiculous.
Yep.
But keep doing this tonight.
But please keep doing this tonight, Wayne.
And everyone out there, for the sake of comic books and good storytelling, please, please, please vote against the Robbins book. There's 3 other options out there.
Yeah.
We do not need... Okay, here's the whole thing. I don't think anybody is going to the DCUniverse.com website and actually reading the descriptions of this book. The description of this book is simply the Robins sit around a table at a coffee shop. Done.
Presumably there's going to be more story. I'm guessing that's just like the basic. Yeah, the basic
Are you
pitch.
sure? Because, I mean, if everybody else's story, everybody else's basic plot is fleshed out a whole bunch. The Robins book says cappuccinos.
Yeah, no, I doubt they're just going to have a potentially a 6-issue series of them just drinking coffee. Like I'm sure.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure there's going to be something
and exploring and exchanging feelings and all.
I'm sure there's going to be more involved, but like I've said about 15 million times, if you want to do that, you have a Robin book. Once you're done telling the League of Lazarus story with Damian, just have an arc that's about him and the other Robins. It's really not that complicated.
Exactly. Or maybe, you know what would be cool is if both of them dropped the Robin moniker, and what was it, Redwing and Jaybird? They could adopt those identities, those being Tim Drake and Damian.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Because really, those are the only. Well, Tim Drake's the only inactive member of the Bat family.
Yeah.
Everybody else has pretty much got a book. Red Hood is dominating Urban Legends.
Yeah. Everyone else is busy. I think Tim has a story coming up in Urban Legends, but
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
Hopefully, they stop pooping on him too.
Yeah. And
there's always one.
Yeah, there's always one. There's always one. And that's the show. We hope you had fun. We definitely did. Come back next week for more DC Comics talk when we'll be reviewing Batman Superman number 17, Harley Quinn number 2, Detective Comics number 1035, Robin number 1, Teen Titans Academy number 2, and Action Comics number 1030. We'll be here talking comics, and we dearly hope you'll stop by. Remember to go to notarobotpodcast.com for all of our episodes and our other shows with all sorts of people. And with that, there's only one way that we say goodbye around here. Until next time.
Be good to each other.
And don't be a robot.
Shut up.